Hello everyone and welcome to Galveston College. Welcome to History 1302, United States History 2. This is the U.S. History course for Summer 2, 2016. I am your instructor this semester. My name is Scotty Lee Edler. My office is M314. My office hours are by appointment Monday through Thursday. Remember, Friday we are closed for the summer, but since this is an online class, I leave it the same. You can contact me Monday through Friday. We can get together, or Saturday or even Sunday as far as I'm concerned. The office phone number is 409-944-1327. My secretary will answer that and take a message, but it is easier just to give me a call on my cell phone number. My cell phone number is 940-642-5219. My home number is mainly used for fax, but if for some reason you're not getting me on the office phone or the cell phone, you can call me there. It's an Alabama number. It's 251-408-9210. I currently live in Mobile, Alabama. So just keep that in mind if you have a plan with limited long distance. Please just do me a favor and do not call me after appropriate hours. I'd say about 10 o'clock p.m. Central Time. That's about the extent of what time I want to talk to you. Also, don't call me before about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. My email address is sedler@gc.edu. It's very important to remember that my last name is Edler, E-D-L-E-R. A lot of students will, for some reason, change it to Elder. Apparently, they don't like the way my last name is spelled. They decide to give me a new one. And it causes problems because if you send an email to selder@gc.edu, it will not come to me. And I do have a standard policy that if you send an email to the wrong email address, if you send it to selder@gc.edu and I don't get your message, then whatever it was about, if it was asking for something or whatever and it goes past the deadline, I don't count that. So please make sure that you are spelling my name correctly. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to kind of introduce myself and let you know some things about me, and then we'll get into the actual syllabus of the course. I was born in Wilmington, Delaware. I lived there for the first 7 to 10 years of my life, but I consider my hometown to be Lewes, Delaware. You can see it there on that little point, which is called Cape Henlopen. It is there right near, you can see where the Delaware Bay and the Atlantic Ocean meet. Lewes, Delaware is my hometown. It's also the oldest town or city in the state of Delaware. They call it the first town in the first state. It was founded in June of 1631. Last time I checked, last time I updated the PowerPoints, it had a population just below 3,000. It was 27,000 people. That's probably gone up. It goes up steadily every year or so. And the town is very small. It actually kind of reminds me a lot of Galveston, except I think Galveston's even bigger if you count the entire island. It's only 4.3 square miles of the town, and 3.7 miles of that is land. The rest is water. It's a very beautiful place. You can see from some of the scenery, the lighthouses. That thing down on the right is actually a fire control tower from our World War II Fort Miles, which protected the mouth of the Delaware Bay from German U-boats. The two lighthouses are the Harbor of Refuge Light. The white one is the Harbor of Refuge Light, and the brown one is the East End Lighthouse for the Delaware breakwaters. They were places that ships would tie up after storms. So this is my hometown, far away from Galveston. So, you know, when people ask why I don't have much of a Texas accent, that's why. So my educational experience. After I graduated from high school, I went to Cape Henlopen High School in Lewes, Delaware. I went on to Delaware State University, where I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in History in May of 2003. My faculty advisor is a guy by the name of Dr. William Henry Flahart III. He is a medieval and modern European scholar. My senior capstone I wrote over a group of medieval Holy Roman emperors or German emperors by the name of the Hohenstaufen dynasty. I won the George Washington Leadership Award in my senior year, which is given to history and political science majors who show some kind of leadership ability on campus. And from 2002 until 2003, I was the chapter president of the Phi Alpha Theta History Honor Society on campus at Delaware State University. After I graduated in May 2003, I then went on to get my Master's of Arts in History at Midwestern State University in Wichita Falls, Texas. I graduated from there in May of 2006. My thesis director was a gentleman by the name of Dr. Dirk Lindemann. He was a German historian, German and Spanish historian. My thesis was The Fall and Exile of Wilhelm II, the last German Kaiser, a 21st century assessment. So my main area of expertise in history is Wilhelmine German from 1871 until 1945, so the period that encompasses World War I and World War II. One of my secondary fields, though, is American Civil War and Reconstruction, so that is why I tend to teach History 1302 more than I teach History 1301, although I do teach History 1301 and Texas History at Galveston College online. It says it's in progress, but I just finished. I was working on 18 credits in political science at the University of Nebraska at Omaha. My thesis director is Dr. Gregory Petrow. I have my 18 credits. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to finish that master's. All I need is 18 credits to teach political science, government courses at Galveston College. So right now it's on hold, but I may reassess that at a later point. Now, my work experience. My newest job is Southern New Hampshire University. I'm an adjunct instructor there. I started there in April of 2016. I have been at Galveston College since June 2011. I used to live in Galveston. I taught on campus for years, and then my wife graduated from medical school at UTMB, and we were forced to move to Mobile, Alabama for her residency. She is an OBGYN, and so we were forced to leave. So I continue to work there as an adjunct instructor online. I also have been at Navarro College since 2007. I did take a year off when we moved to Galveston, and then they had me come back. So I've been there for almost a decade now. And before I moved to Galveston, I also taught at North Central Texas College as an adjunct instructor. I taught on their Gainesville, Corinth, and their Bowie campuses from July 2007 until August 2010. Prior to that, I was a graduate assistant. I taught discussion classes at Midwestern State University. Now, some of the classes I teach, now this is not a full list because I've got other classes I now teach at Southern New Hampshire, but I teach United States History 1, United States History 2, I teach Western Civilization 1 and Western Civilization 2, I teach Texas History, I teach World Civilization 1 and World Civilization 2. It's different. The difference between it and Western Civ is you throw in China and India and the Middle East. I also teach a upper level junior, senior World War I seminar. I also teach a World War II seminar, a Russia Tsardom seminar, and I also teach at Southern New Hampshire University every couple of semesters. I do teach the Research Methods course, so I do teach some graduate courses as well. I was the Galveston College Exceptional Service Award winner for adjunct faculty for 2012-2013. That was my last full year on campus at Galveston College, and that's a picture of me with President Shelton on my right and my award plaque. And this is an award that is voted on by both the faculty, staff, and the students at Galveston College. This is just a sample of the different professional memberships that I'm in. I am a member of the Galveston Historical Foundation, the Phi Alpha Theta National Honor Society in History, the American Historical Association, the Steamship Historical Society of America, the Community College Humanities Association, the Texas State Historical Association, the Lewes Historical Society, the Delaware Historical Society, and the Texas Community College Teachers Association. I'm also a member of a lot of different museum boards. Here in Mobile, I do some work with the Mobile Mardi Gras or Mobile Carnival Museum. But these are the important academic memberships that I hold. I always get a laugh at this e-card here. The guy asking a question and the professor saying the reason you get a syllabus at the beginning of the semester is avoid this conversation. It is sometimes distressing when students ask a bunch of questions and you realize that they've not read the syllabus or paid attention when the syllabus has gone over. So please pay close attention to what we're talking about here, or if you're reading this, the actual syllabus document that corresponds to this video. Make sure you're reading it carefully and trying to understand it, and ask questions if you're confused. But don't ask questions like, when is something due, or what am I supposed to be doing this week? Because all of those particular items are addressed in the syllabus, and I'm going to tell you essentially consult your syllabus for clarification. So please make sure you print that syllabus out and you keep it with your materials. It is essentially the Bible for this course over the next 4 or 5 weeks. So get to know it extensively. Now, what is History 1302 United States History 2? Well, the catalog description of the course is that it is a survey of the political, social, economic, military, cultural, and intellectual history of the United States from the time period 1877 to the present. So anything after the Reconstruction period, which was essentially 1865 to 1877. Now, these are the required materials for the course. The first is American Stories, A History of the United States. I do usually recommend you buy the combined 3rd edition. This is simply because if you're taking both classes at Galveston College, it will save you money. If you are not a Galveston College student and you're just taking History 1302 here, but not taking 1301, it's okay to go online and get the second half of the book. That's okay with me. You can also get it other places. Half Price Books usually has it. But the bookstore has a fine selection of copies of American Stories in the bookstore. There's also a copy or two in the library if you need them. The author is H.W. Brands. He's a professor out of the University of Texas there in Austin. I've actually been a proofreader for this textbook twice. I proofread the first edition when they were moving up to the second edition. And I proofread this current edition, which is the 3rd edition. They're getting ready to publish the 4th edition next spring. So that's a little heads up. If you have a copy of this, try to unload it as quickly as you can after the class so that you can get your money back, because after the 4th edition comes out, you may not be able to sell it back. This is a very good book. A lot of people say, well, is this a good book, or are you going to use it? This is designed to supplement the lecture. It's not designed to replace it. I do have PowerPoint slides, but there are some chapters that I will ask you to read instead of a PowerPoint slide because the chapters are very, very good. So you'll want to read carefully. The page numbers correspond. You should see them on the course outline. You will see page numbers. Make sure you're reading along with the PowerPoints. The second book you need is Prohibition, 13 Years That Changed America by Edward Bear. This is a book that you will read in the first half of the course and take a small book test over. It should take you no more than about a week and a half to read this book, and you can get it in the Galveston College bookstore, but you can also find it online, and it should be very cheap. You should be able to find copies of it for less than $10. The special reader for the second half of the course, the second 2.5 weeks, is Pete Seeger and the Power of Song by Alan M. Winkler. And again, you can get this at the Galveston College bookstore, half-price books, online, Amazon.com, and it should be less than $10. You can get yourself a copy of it. And it's a pretty interesting book. It's a different book for a history class. A lot of times they're books on war or books on an event, and this is more on a movement, especially during the Vietnam era. So it's a different change of pace. Some students like it, some don't. This is only the second year that we've used this book, but it's gotten some very good reviews, so I'm interested to see what you all think about it. And like I said, you can get these copies of both of these readers fairly cheaply. Now, what is it that we want you guys to know when you get out of this course? Well, these 3 student learning outcomes are what we want you to know when you're done. We're not arrogant enough or naive enough to think that you guys are all going to be history majors. The reality of it is the majority of you are not interested in history. You're taking it because it's a requirement. I think that's sad because history is a very, very interesting topic, but I understand. I took math once upon a time, hated math, thought it was boring, just did it to get through. So I understand, although, I'd like to try to change your opinion on history. I realize it's probably a lost cause. We want you to be able to create an argument using historical evidence. We want you to be able to analyze and interpret primary and secondary sources, which we'll talk about when we get to the research paper instructions. And we want you to be able to analyze things such as the historical, social, political, economic, cultural, or global forces in U.S. history and how they pertained to the time period that we're studying, which is 1877 to present. Now, what are the course requirements? Well, first of all, this class is going to be taught by a series of online lectures like this, through the textbook reading assignments and other learning materials such as special readings and things of that nature. This course is entirely online. We will not meet ever unless we need to meet over Skype or something like that. We may never even see each other. The class will require more time than a traditional lecture class. A lot of students take these classes because, well, you don't have to meet in person, therefore it's going to be easier. Well, that's not entirely true. The trade-off on this is that you can work on the materials at your own pace, as long as things are, in by the due date. But the reality of it is it's actually more work, because what a lot of students don't realize is in-class instruction is usually about 3 hours a week, and then you spend another 3 to 4 hours a week working on homework, reading, studying your research paper. And instead of it being 3 hours in class, 3 hours outside of class, you spend about 6 to 8 hours per week on your class overall. So when you think about it, it's about the same amount of work as an in-person class. It's just that instead of it being an in-person class, you're never there and you do it all at home. So keep that in mind for those people who think, well, I'm just going to do it an hour a week and get away with that. That's not going to work well for you. You're going to need to be putting in 4 to 6 hours a week minimum, 6 to 8 hours maximum. I'd say maximum. With the research paper, it may be more. Just keep an eye on that. Make sure you're spending the amount of time, because the biggest problem with students is that they don't give the course the respect that it deserves. They don't do the time. And then at the end of the course, when they aren't happy with their grade, a lot of times the reason is because they just didn't put enough of time and effort into it. Now, first, there's going to be 2 exams in this course, a midterm and a final. And the exams are going to be multiple choice, true or false, matching, and or short answer. The exams are going to be located at the end of each learning unit. You're going to have 2 learning units, Part 1 and Part 2. And these exams are going to be worth 40% of the overall course grade. So they are worth a large percentage of the grade, so it's important that you do well on them. Exams will be open for 24 hours. Usually it begins at 12 o'clock a.m. and ends at 11:59 p.m. So you get 24 hours, one day, to access the test. After you access the test, you have a reasonable amount of time, about 2 hours, to take the test. So you don't get 24 hours to take the test. You get 24 hours to access the test. You get 2 hours to take the test. One thing I do want to mention, though, I had a student ask me this last semester. They logged into the exam at 11 o'clock p.m. and then wanted 2 hours. The answer to that is no. If you choose to access the test after 10 o'clock p.m. on the day of the exam, every minute after 10 o'clock p.m. that you choose to access it late, you forfeit that time. So if you access it at 10:30 p.m., you get an hour and a half to take the course test instead of 2 hours. So please keep time in mind. These tests are designed to be done in about an hour, hour and a half, but I do give you a full 2 hours to take them just in case you need a little extra time. Now, if you missed the midterm exam, you can make that up with an excused absence at my discretion. Now, if you missed the midterm or the final, you better have some kind of documented excused absence as to why you were not able to take it. I'm not going to let you take it simply because you forgot. Okay, that's what the syllabus is for. The dates are on there. So please keep that in mind. But if you're in the hospital or you're sick or you have some kind of work-related issue where your boss is willing to, give you some kind of documentation, I'm more than happy to make arrangements. And most of the time it's online, although sometimes we have to do that in the testing center there at the college. You're also required to write a research paper. You're going to prepare for me a well-written term paper that deals with some topic that's presented over this time period. The research paper is worth 20% of the course grade. And in Canvas, you will see a folder that says research paper, and that will be where the instructions for the paper will be. You will also find a document called Guideline for Research Paper, and this is going to be how you write it. It's going to be how you cite your materials. All of that information is going to be there. So please keep that in mind. Research papers must be submitted through the Dropbox marked research paper by the deadline that we will present later on in the syllabus. No late research papers will be accepted for credit, period. Unless you have some kind of documented medical excuse, I will not take the research paper late. So once the deadline passes, it will be a 0 for the research paper. So please take it seriously, and please take the due date for it seriously, as that is 20% of your grade. If you don't do the research paper and get hundreds on everything else, the highest grade you can get in the course is an 80B. So please keep that in mind. The most time-consuming part of the course are the class assignments, and that's because they're designed to be done over the course of a week. There will be weekly assignments. They're located in the learning unit, but since this is a 5-week course, what I do is I just open the entire unit up and let you work at your own pace. So Unit 1 will be open immediately today, and there's multiple assignments for you to do, and then after the midterm's over, Unit 2 will be opened, and you can do those assignments. And most of the things in there are lectures that you must access and read or listen to. They're my lecture notes that I uploaded from my in-person traditional lecture courses. And the bulk of the information for the quizzes and exams will actually be found on my lectures. The textbook reading that is next, that's to supplement my learning materials, but the questions will be taken directly off the lectures. The discussion board. There is a weekly discussion board that you must participate in. The topic is chosen by me, and I will ask a question, and you will answer it with one substantive post. And then you will give 2 responses to your classmates' substantive posts. So 33% of the credit will be for your post, and 66.6% will be from your classmates' post, the post that you do on their posts. So if you do one good post, it's worth 33.3. I have a lot of students that get confused, or they just don't want to do 3 posts. They'll do a really awesome substantive post on their own, and then they get upset when they only get a 33.3. Make sure you're doing no less than 3 substantive posts each week. And by the way, I do mean substantive. Don't say, quote, I agree, or quote, I disagree, and think that that's going to count for your post to your classmates. That's not going to cut it. This is a discussion. The post that you do should be furthering the discussion along, so please keep that in mind. The class activities are worth 20% of your overall course grade. Not as big a deal as the exams, but it is very important you do most of the coursework, if not all the coursework, because you earn a lot of valuable points that way, and it's just an easy way to bank some points if you're not a good test taker. Other type of class assignments you may have a special reading. This is a reading out of a journal or a newspaper or a magazine. Sometimes it's out of American History Magazine or the Smithsonian or one of those that discusses some kind of historical figure or some kind of event. You'll read the assigned materials, then you'll answer a few short questions for credit. They should be typed in Microsoft Word and submitted through the appropriate Dropbox. You will find the questions that correspond to the special reading. At the end of the reading, there's a for your consideration section. That is where you will find those readings in order to answer the question. So that's where you look for the question that corresponds. I can't remember if there's many special readings in 1302. There are for 1301. You'll also have sometimes a historical document analysis and synopsis. And this is where you'll take a historical document, you will read it, and you will write a 50 to 100 word synopsis in your own words and submit it through the appropriate Dropbox. Now, what is a synopsis? That's a very good point. This is one of those college level words. Best advice I can give you is look it up and let me know. But that's a way I can tell that you actually did some kind of work. Look up what synopsis means if you don't know what it means. Scholarly articles and essays. You will have a scholarly article and essay that I will provide every now and then. This is the same as a historical document, but instead it's just an article or essay from a magazine. You'll read it. You'll write a 50 to 100 word synopsis on the article or essay, and then drop it in the appropriate Dropbox. Very easy to do. All you got to do is read it and just give me the synopsis. Finally, you have quizzes. Every learning unit will have specific lectures, and there is a quiz that goes with the lectures. These quizzes are available in multiple choice, true or false, matching, and or short answer. They are usually 10-question quizzes, and you have 20 minutes to complete the quiz. Quizzes can only be taken one time for credit. Now, here's the thing. Most students don't realize this until they take the first exam. The quizzes give the exam their questions, word for word. So if you do well on the quizzes and you study the quizzes, you will do well on the midterm and the final exam. So keep that in mind while you're doing the materials. The last part of the course is book tests, and that will be those 2 readers. You'll take a test over Prohibition, and you'll take a test over Pete Seeger. And I will put up a review sheet for you to look at. It will be posted in Canvas to help guide you through the reading. And book tests are a combined 20% of the overall course grade. Each book is 10% of your course grade. And it's as simple as reading the book, answering the questions on the review sheet, and then answering the questions on the test. As long as you do that, you should be in good shape. And this is really just to tell whether or not you actually read the book. This is the grade breakdown. We talked about all of this just a minute ago when we were talking about those different items in detail. But this is so that you can actually see it spelled out. The research paper is worth 20%, 200 points. The midterm and the final are both worth 200 points apiece, 20% each. The book tests are worth 10% apiece, 100 points each. And the class assignments are worth 200 points, 20% of the course. In order to get an A in the course, you must have 900 to 1,000 points. A B is 800 to 899. A C is 700 to 799. A D is 600 to 699. And an F is anything from 599 and below. And I tell my students to make a realistic goal and shoot for it. And if your realistic goal is a B, I will do every single thing within my power to help you achieve that goal. Answering questions, putting up more videos or spontaneous lectures in order to help you out. But if you decide that your goal is an F and you're going to give me F quality work, well, then I will help you in that goal as well. So please keep that in mind and try to do your best in the course. I want everyone to do well. So just make sure that you do the best possible job that you can. One of the questions I hear all the time from students is whether or not I give extra credit. I don't tend to give a lot of extra credit, but when I do, you need to do it right away. Now, sometimes I'll say, okay, well, you have 72 hours to do this, and if you get it in, it'll be extra credit. It's very rare. I don't do it often. So that's why I want you to check in to the class. You don't have to do work every day, but I want you to check in at least every day and make sure that there's no extra credit assignments announced. And it's very rare. It's maybe one a semester or two a semester. So don't assume it's going to be every day or every couple of days. Now, do I curve grades? No. Overall course grades are not curved because success in this course is not measured by you against someone else. It's measured to you versus the material, okay? And that's what grade curves are. They measure your success versus someone else's success, and that's how you do on the test is no one else's business. It's just between you and the test. Now, that being said, if you end the course within a point or two of the next letter grade and you're eligible for the higher grade, meaning you have good attendance, you have good classroom participation, you behaved yourself, you've been respectful, you've put in the effort, I will bump you up to the next letter grade. So if you have an 88, I will, if you meet all those criteria, I will give you an A. But if you have an 88 and you barely check in, you barely do work, you're rude to classmates in discussion, you're rude to me, the curve of your overall course grade is not... It's not something that has to be done. It's not set in stone. There's nothing written that says I have to make an 88 or an 87 an A. An 88 or an 87 is legitimately a B, and it is well within my right to keep it a B. So that's another way of really encouraging you guys to get along with each other, get along with me in the discussions and other things, because I remember that at the end of the semester when it's time to give grade bumps. Now, if you have a grade dispute, if you think something's wrong, you think an exam is wrong, or an assignment was graded wrong, like the arithmetic isn't right, or there was an error in the answer key, that's fine. Let me know as soon as possible. If you believe that the assignment was miscalculated or something wrong, bring it to my attention within 7 days after I return it. I will then consider a grade change. If you do it after 7 days, the original grade stands, no exceptions. I can't have someone coming back to me 4 weeks, 6 weeks later and say, oh, by the way, I just noticed that this is wrong. I can't remember whether it was legitimately wrong on your part or not. It could have very easily been that you changed it or something. So that's why I ask that you do it right away. I'm always happy to go over your work and check it, but I just want to make sure that we're doing it in a reasonable amount of time. Special services. Now, if you're a student that falls under the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, which is, of course, the federal anti-discrimination statute that prevents us from discriminating against the civil rights of people with disabilities, you can go to the Galveston College Counseling Center or call them at 409-944-1223. And if you have some kind of documented disability, they can get you reasonable accommodations for those disabilities. If you have an ADA form that is not on file with Galveston College, do not present it to me. Present it to the Galveston College Counseling Center, and they will decide what accommodations you need in consultation with you, and they will give it to me. Okay, please don't give it to me because I can only accept something from the Galveston College Counseling Center. Students will, and by the way, you can't go back on that either. You can't take the first test and say, well, I'm just going to try to do it on my own, and then come back to me afterwards and say, oh, by the way, I failed the first test. Here's my ADA accommodation form. My response is, your accommodation form will start the moment I get it. So if you have an ADA accommodation form, get it to the college immediately. Get them to send it to me immediately so that you can get your accommodations throughout the entire semester. And again, these are reasonable accommodations. You can't ask for me to take the test for you or things of that nature. So just keep that in mind, and if any of you fall under this, please see one of the counselors, Janie Withers, or one of the other counselors down in the Galveston College Counseling Center, and they will be happy to get you taken care of in a timely manner. Now here's the course outline over the next 5 weeks. So beginning today, Monday, July 11th, until Wednesday, July 13th, at the end of the day, is going to be your course orientation and information. This is going to be your quiz over the course syllabus and your discussion board introducing yourself to me and your classmates. These materials have to be completed before the Unit 1 stuff opens. I have it set up specifically so that it will not open until you do all of those items. So make sure you get them done as soon as possible so Learning Unit 1 will open. Now, Unit 1 is America to 1920, and this will be open tomorrow, assuming you get the course orientation stuff done tomorrow, or today. Today is Monday. And it'll be open until Tuesday, July 26th at 11:59. So it's open for 2.5 weeks. And there's a few lectures. There's the Gilded Age, Western Expansion, the Rise of Big Business, the Progressive and Populist Era, and American Expansion in World War I. At the end of the 2.5 weeks, on Sunday, July 24th, will be the book test for Prohibition, 13 Years That Changed America. So you have between now, Monday, July 11th, and Sunday, July 24th, to take the book test over to read the book and then take the book test. The book test is only on Sunday, July 24th, from 12 o'clock a.m. until 11:59 p.m. And then on Tuesday, July 26th, is your midterm exam. So you have 2.5 weeks to do all of these items, but I would suggest you do them in a relative matter of time. You know, do a lecture and its corresponding materials every couple of days so that you're not falling behind. Okay? Now, once you're done the midterm exam on July 26th, Learning Unit 2 will appear. Learning Unit 2 is America from 1920 to present. and it will be available from Wednesday, July 27th at 12 o'clock a.m. until Thursday, August 11th at 11:59. Now, this is also one of those ones that will not open until you take the midterm. So if you fail to take the midterm and it's Thursday, July 28th, and you don't see Unit 2, that's why. You need to contact me about taking the midterm or get me to open it up manually. The lectures that are involved in this are the 1920s and the Great Depression, the New Deal, World War II, post-war America, and modern America, which is the modern era today. You have 2 items that are due on Monday, August 8th. The first is the research paper. Now, you should have it done before this and just be submitting it by this deadline. The other item is the book test. To everything there is a season. That is when you take the second book test. So you have from Wednesday, July 27th until Monday, August 8th to read the book, and then you'll take the book test on Monday, August 8th, sometime between 12 o'clock a.m. and 11:59 p.m. On Thursday, August 11th, from 12 o'clock a.m. until 11:59 p.m. is your final exam, and it will be available for you at that time. Both exams will have a study guide. You will have a study guide for you to look up key terms. It'll also give you possible short answer essay questions that you can write beforehand and then submit. You'll submit them essentially by copy and paste. So that's how the course is going to run over the next 5 weeks. This is very important. You keep an eye on this slide and the previous slide, or on the syllabus where they're listed, because this will really help you keep an idea as to where you're at in the course. And again, like Unit 1, you don't have to do these things all the same day, but I would definitely spread them out so that you're not doing them all at the very, very end and rushing and killing yourself. All right, so the attendance policy for the course. Well, the college policy is that you're expected to attend all lectures and that I'm supposed to keep an accurate record of your class attendance. Well, this is an online class, so that's a little difficult. But the way I do it is simple. Any student that misses 10% of the total clock hours of instruction, in this course that means assignments because we're not face-to-face, will be subject to administrative withdrawal, an AWN, meaning I have the right to drop you from the course. Now, also at my discretion, any student that's tardy, which again, this doesn't really respond to you guys because this is an online class, but tardiness may also be treated the same as an absence. But the way I do it's simple. If you stop coming, then I don't necessarily drop you. It says I can drop you, but I don't drop you. The reason why is simple. Too many students quit coming. They get upset when I drop them. The college puts them back in the course, and they never show back up again. If you want to drop the course, go to the registrar's admissions office, get a drop slip, and drop the course yourself. Don't expect me to drop you by just not coming. That's just not acceptable. You should be keeping an eye on your class. Remember, you're paying for this, and you don't get money back if you end up failing because you stopped coming. If you decide to drop the course because it's not a class you want to take, the nice thing is you might be able to get some of your money back. And also, an F on your transcript because you just didn't finish showing up is not a good thing to have, so keep that in mind. I am willing to work with you, though. If you disappear for a while and you come back and you've got a good excuse as to where you've been, I'm always happy to work with you and get things done. But, you should be checking into the course every day or every other day just so that we know that you're active and doing stuff. So please just make sure that you're active somehow, at least on the discussion board, at least signing in. That way we know that you're still alive and still working in the course. Now, academic integrity is something that I personally take very seriously. And as a college student, you are supposed to follow a certain code of conduct. And essentially, it is your responsibility to maintain scholastic integrity. When you're doing a writing assignment, you are required to give full credit to the author that you got the information from. If you don't, this is called plagiarism. You are also not supposed to copy and paste someone else's discussion board. Those type of things are unacceptable in a college classroom. And if you do something like that, we can refer you to the college administration. And some of the different punishments are loss of credit for the assignment, for the exam, if it's an exam, for the entire unit of work, failure in the course, or dismissal from the college. And the way I handle this is simple. If it is plagiarism or cheating, but it is, something that's questionable, like you didn't know that what you were doing was wrong, or it was minor infraction, I usually keep it as a teachable moment, and I pull you aside and we discuss it, we straighten it out, and you don't do it again. If it's something blatant, like you buy a paper online or you copy and paste your term paper from Wikipedia, don't laugh, it's happened more times than I really want to admit. I will give you an F on the assignment, and if it's really blatant, I'll give you an F in the entire course. So please keep that in mind. Please keep to the Student Code of Conduct, which is in the Galveston College Handbook. And let's just say this is important. Students don't realize this, that you can actually get dismissed from the college. Any of my Aggies out there who are taking this course at Galveston College, but you do most of your coursework at Texas A&M University or Texas A&M University Galveston, my question is, how does Texas A&M handle cheating on their campus? Much stricter than pulling you aside the first time and having a heart-to-heart. It's a very serious offense in most colleges and universities, so please take it seriously. If you have a question about what you're writing in your research paper, if you think you're not quoting enough or citing enough, get a hold of me and we can look at it together and we can try to work it where you're not in danger of plagiarizing. And sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes you don't know how much to cite or how little to cite. We can work on that together. So don't be afraid to contact me about that in person if you need to. Now, this is one of those slides that I normally use in my traditional in-person or in-class class. But since this is an online class, there's no real provision against cell phone use. I mean, look, let's be honest. I've got my cell phone sitting here right next to me while I'm recording these lectures for you tonight. Or I guess it's 1:30 in the morning, so it's this morning, Monday, July 11th. Here's the deal, though. The only cell phone, smartphone rule that I have is that you must use a desktop or a laptop computer for the course. There are many functions and features within Canvas that do not work on cell phones and tablets. Never, ever, ever try and take a quiz or exam with a cell phone or a tablet. You must always use your desktop or your laptop. If you don't have a desktop, you don't have a laptop, or you don't have access to a desktop or a laptop, then you either shouldn't be in an online course or you should be going to the computer lab every day at Galveston College during their normal business hours and using their computer. Part of taking an online course is it's assumed that you have access to a computer. Make sure you do so, okay? Because that's the only way you can do well in this course is having some kind of access. And you don't have to own the computer. That's not what I'm saying. You can access it through the library, Galveston College Library, the library in Galveston, okay, the Rosenberg Library, or wherever you're located. Maybe you're not in Galveston like me. There are plenty of ways to get access to a computer, but please do not try to take a quiz or exam with a cell phone or tablet. It won't let you submit most of the time, and many of the text boxes will be missing. And if you hit submit afterwards, the grade will stand. You can't come back to me later on and say, well, I tried to take the quiz or exam with my cell phone, and it wouldn't work, and so I shut it down to restart it, and now it won't let me in. I'm going to tell you I'm sorry, but I've warned you before not to do that. The grade will stand. So please make sure you're using a regular computer for your coursework. I don't mind if you read something on your cell phone, like maybe one of the special readings or something. Although, why would you want to read on your cell phone? They're so small screens. You've got these big computer screens now. But, it's very important for quizzes and exams to not use your cell phone or your tablet. Now, as I said before, we do provide computer resources for the purpose of accomplishing tasks that are essentially related to the mission of the college. So you are allowed to use our computer resources for school-related things, such as checking email, doing assignments, things like that. But you are not allowed to do other things like download music or other unseemly things that people do at times. If you have a question over whether or not what you're doing violates our college computer policy, please consult our Galveston College catalog or the student handbook for clarification. The course syllabus will be in the process of being revised until today, Monday, July 11th. At the end of the day today, the course syllabus will be final. I don't expect to make any changes on the course syllabus. I've been through it 100 times. I haven't found any mistakes. But we do have this one day to make sure that if there are any mistakes, to change it. I don't think that I will have to do that, so just ignore Bart Simpson with that horrible look on his face looking to hit you with a slingshot. I don't think that that will be a problem. If you do find a mistake on the syllabus, please let me know ASAP and I will get it corrected. If you have any questions about the syllabus, also please get a hold of me right away so that I can answer them for you as quickly and carefully as I can. Now, late work. What are you allowed to do? What are you allowed to hand in late or have a chance to do after the deadline? Well, first, the midterm exam and the book test. Well, if you miss the midterm or the book test, you must request a makeup exam within 2 days. Days are defined as calendar days, not school days. If you miss the midterm exam or the book test, you will receive an email in Canvas from me specifying the deadline for the makeup request. They can be in any format that I want. They will be longer than the original exam. And most of the time, they're administered in the Galveston College Testing Center. I'm not going to give you the same test that you didn't take online because the chance someone may have told you what's on the exam, and that's not fair. That someone would give you an advantage that other people did not have. So you will have a different version of the exam. Also, it's to give you some incentive to take the exam or the book test on the date scheduled, knowing that the exam may be much larger and maybe harder. Maybe it's going to be all essay. Will keep you from taking the easy way out and saying, I didn't study for it. I'll just go ahead and take it in 2 or 3 days down in the testing center. No, it will be different and it will be possibly a little bit lengthier. It's not going to be harder. It'll be the same material. It just may be, instead of it multiple choice true or false, it may be an essay test. Students who miss the deadline for the makeup will earn a 0 unless you notify me earlier of some kind of extenuating circumstance or you have some kind of medical excuse. Now, there is no final exam makeup because the final exam is given on the final day. If you miss the final exam, you get a grade of 0 for the exam unless you obtain permission from me earlier than the exam and you take a grade of an I, an incomplete. Now, this is something that has to be a legitimate reason for taking a incomplete. You can't just take it because you forgot. Okay, it has to be something serious, like a major car accident, or your wife went into labor, or if you're a woman, you went into labor or something. And it must be documented so that we have it on file. And this is a very hard thing to get done, by the way, too. Not only do I have to grant you the incomplete, then I have to pass it by my boss, Dr. Blumstead, the department chair for history and government. He has to sign off on it. Then I have to get the division director, Professor Waddell, the director of the Division of Arts, to sign off on it. And then we have to get Dr. Matthews, who's the Vice President of Academic Affairs, to sign off on it. So this is a very difficult process, and we use it very sparingly. Class assignments. There are no makeups on class assignments. If you miss the deadline, it's a 0. Research papers, same thing. No late papers will be accepted for credit. Galveston College takes student success very seriously, and for that purpose, Galveston College does provide tutoring for our students free of charge at the Student Success Center. If you are interested in this service, please visit the Student Success Center, or you can go to the website provided below on this slide, and we are happy to get you the help that you need. Also, let me know if they don't have any tutors for History 1301 or History 1302, and I may be able to give them names of people who can come and help out. But please use the resource. If you think you need tutoring, please use the resource. It's there for you, and it is free. So we are happy for you to use it. Instructor contact policy. How do you get a hold of me? Well, I'm available to each of you by email. Okay. Email is sedler@gc.edu. It's at the front of this and also on the course syllabus. I'm also available to you in the course questions and help discussion board. If you have a question that maybe the entire class might have, you can post it there and I'll answer. You can get a hold of me by telephone and also by other forms of electronic communication. If you email me, you must do so at my sedler@gc.edu email address, and I will have up to 24 hours to respond on regular days and 48 hours on weekends. This is because I just can't physically be attached to my email for that entire time. Usually it's not that big of a deal. Usually I reply pretty quickly within an hour or two. But don't get panicky if it's been 12 hours and I haven't responded to you, or it's been 20 hours on a weekend. You know, I have to take some time off as well. So also, you are required to use either the Canvas email system or your Galveston College email system. Do not email me from another college email or from a personal email address. I will not respond. This is because the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA, is designed to protect your privacy. And if you're contacting me using your personal email, that's fine, but I don't know who has access to that email. And it might be something that is confidential, like you're talking about a grade or an absence or some other issue. And what if you share an email address with your husband or your boyfriend or whatever? That person could have access to your email address and be able to read your emails. Your emails are between you and me. Nobody else. Not your parents, not your spouse, not your cat, not your dog. They're between you and me. If you choose to share them, that's fine, but it has to be through the Galveston College or the Canvas email system so that I know that it's safe and secure. And also, let's be honest, you know, how many people have strange email addresses out there and your name is John Smith, but your email address is hottie420@aol.com. Well, I don't know who that is. I know who John Smith is. He's on my roster, but you know, whoever this guy is, you know, the email address, I don't know who it is. So it's very important you use your Galveston College or your Canvas email so that I know who I'm sending the emails to. And by the way, when I send you emails, the only emails I will send you are to those email addresses. So if I do a class announcement and copy it as an email to every student, it'll go there. It's not going to necessarily go to your personal account. Telephone calls are always welcome between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. I said even 10 p.m. if you need to. But a couple of things. First of all, don't call me in the middle of the night. Don't call me super early in the morning, like 6 a.m. My wife is a doctor. She works strange shift work, and sometimes she's working night shift, and she comes home at 7 o'clock, and she's got to have an hour to unwind before she can get into bed. Once she's asleep, it's no big deal. And also, the fact of the matter is, I don't like to get up early, and I don't like to stay up too late. I'm usually up about 1, 2 o'clock, but if she's home and on a day shift, I don't want a bunch of people calling and waking her up when it's quiet time, 10, 11 o'clock at night. If you call me and I'm not available, please leave a message, either on my home or cellular voicemail, and I will return your call as quickly as possible. Now, please remember that I do not return hang-up calls, especially for those people who have cell phone numbers that may come up unlisted. So if it's important enough for you to call me, it's important enough for you to leave me a message. I promise you right now, I will not return a call that does not have some kind of voice message. It could be a telemarketer calling me. It could be just someone I don't want to talk to. I need to know who I'm calling. And also, it's just great for me to be able to know who I'm calling so that, A, I'm not having to ask for, hey, who are you? Why'd you call me? And B, that way I can have all your information in front of me so that we're not wasting time. I can get right down to business for you. If you want to meet face-to-face with me, I'm perfectly happy to do that. We can contact each other digitally through Skype by appointment. I do this a lot with students who want to see me and talk to me. We also can do Google. We can do a group through Google Connect where I can even set up a whiteboard and we can talk and you guys can take notes and ask questions. So that's also available for you if you want to use it. So I'm pretty open, pretty reasonable with getting a hold of people, pretty quick to get back to them. So if you need something, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm here. I want to help you. So just get a hold of me and we can get things straightened out. If you email this or if you email or call the secretary, I can't guarantee the 24 to 48 hour turnaround because I can't guarantee that she's going to give me the message quickly. So that's why I would prefer, instead of you calling the office and leaving a message with Joanne, I'd rather you just call me directly. Finally, a note on correspondence and writing assignments. All writing assignments and correspondence email with me should be written in legitimate English. You guys are all in college, so it's assumed that you're going to be college-educated people. You are expected to be able to write with correct English, and I do impose this requirement as a way for you to practice your skills. Also, when you write me an email, make sure you put the course ID number and the section number in the subject heading so that I know what class you're in. I teach multiple classes at multiple times at multiple schools, and it's great to know which folder to open up on my computer to look up your information, look up your grades. And so for this course, in the subject heading, you would put somewhere in there History 1302 3115. So make sure that's in there anywhere you put it. Symbols and letter combinations such as UR for your, B/C for because, W/ for with, or W/O for without. Look, they're fine for sending text messages. I'll be honest with you. B/C and W/ are two of my favorites when I'm writing a text message. But for assignments and correspondence in a college class, they're unacceptable. Okay? Really, the only acceptable abbreviations in this class are ones like the US for United States or UK for United Kingdom. Okay? And a lot of students, by the way, send me text messages. I do not like text messages. Please do not send me a text message. No offense. I consider text messages to be a form of communication between you and your friends or me and my friends. I'm your course instructor. I'm not your friend. I'd like to be your friend maybe, but after the course is over. Seriously, though, I just don't like them because I have fat fingers and I don't like to type.
to be honest with you. And also, it's just really not appropriate. I'd rather have an email so that I have some documentation, and that way we can go back and forth in a reasonable way. And it's very hard to write, especially if I have something that's really got to be written long. It's hard to do that in a text message conversation. So please, you don't have to send me a text message. If you do use text message spelling or inappropriate abbreviations in a class assignment, I do take off 2 points each time you do it. So be careful, okay? Don't use text message spelling, okay? Well, that's it. I look forward to getting to know each of you over the next 5 weeks. I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say and the discussions and things like that. If you have any questions, any concerns, please get a hold of me at sedler@gc.edu or give me a quick call. I've already heard from some of you, it was a requirement to contact me before the semester began, and I probably have heard from about half of you. So make sure you check in by email and say hello and let me know what's going on. Make sure that you've got your books and everything. And if you have any questions for me, please feel free to get a hold of me. Start going through the material right away. And that's about it. Okay, well, it's pretty late. It's almost 2 a.m. here in Mobile, Alabama. So I think I'm going to hit the bed. But if you need anything, please get a hold of me, and I'll be happy to get back with you tomorrow morning.